good afternoon, and welcome to the garden. Welcome to Garden Conversations with Rose. Today is December 21st. It is said that today is the shortest day, the day when the night hours will be longest, the day when the sun below the equator is directly overhead the Tropic of Capricorn, hence rendering it today being the shortest day. You know, being the 21st, it means that there are only 10 days left in 2022. Facebook also has a way of reminding us of posts that we do from time to time. So a few days ago, I chanced upon a post I had done either a year or 2 years ago that said, kill the woodpeckers that bore into the sideboards. Barring up the holes is useless. Woodpeckers are persistent. And as I read that, something was revealed to me. Something of substance that I thought would be important for all of us. And I read a little bit about woodpeckers, read a little bit about more than what I knew, and found out that woodpeckers were normally prevalent in wooded areas, mainly in North America, on occasion in Australia, and of course in other parts, temperate regions. We don't have any woodpeckers in the Caribbean. And woodpeckers are sturdy birds. They have hardy, sturdy beaks and barbed tongues that do well in gripping whatever they hold on to. And the tongue and the beak are both long enough to dig and burrow and peck into wood for various reasons. So normally when a woodpecker pecks into wood, it is looking for insects because that's mainly what it eats. It is also said that the woodpecker, looking for insects, does well for the ecosystem because in that manner it gets rid of pesky insects. A woodpecker also burrows and pecks into wood for nesting purposes, a home for the young ones. And then the male woodpecker in particular does the pecking and burrowing, giving out a loud sound that is meant to attract the female woodpecker as well as intimidate the male woodpecker. And then, because of the nature of the bird, because of how they were designed, how they were created, a woodpecker pecks into wood because that's what woodpeckers do. While it is true that the pecking of the woodpecker into the wood to get out insects may be good for the environment, if a woodpecker gets into the sideboards of houses, that isn't something good, unless of course it may be exposing or revealing that the pecking for insects is revealing a deeper issue that the homeowner has to pay attention to. But barring that, if a woodpecker pecks into the sideboard for nesting purposes, to attract the female, or just because that's what they do, it isn't a good thing. That damages the integrity of the house, and the homeowner has to pay attention. I want to suggest that we in our lives, as we look down on the final 10 days of 2022, must think about our own structure. And by that I mean our own person, our own development. How are we standing up to woodpeckers? I want to suggest that we all, or most of us, do have at least those 4 sideboards that are important to us. So sideboard number 1, of course, would be our ambitions. I think most persons have ambitions, whether those ambitions are related to educational attainment, improving on vocational skills, or one's health, whether that be emotional, physical, mental, or otherwise, and of course, in general, being a better person. So that's our first sideboard that everyone, or most of us, I think, possess. The other sideboard I think that most of us have is that of the need for financial security, financial accountability, and or financial breakthrough. Many persons struggle, and some of us are well off, but all of us, I think all humans, want to be able to have that level of financial security, accountability, or breakthrough. The other sideboard I think that we all do possess, I think most persons possess, I'll be surprised if a human doesn't possess it, is that of family interaction, whether it be one person or in general family interactions. And the last, but by no means least, at least for the last of the fourth one, that is our spiritual lives or relationship with God. That is a sideboard that's important. So, of course, for our structure, for our own growth and development as a human, as a person, we want to make sure that those sideboards are intact and are free from the burrowing and pecking and interference of those pesky woodpeckers. What might those woodpeckers be? I want to suggest that as it relates to our ambition, the first woodpecker, the most damaging one, is that of procrastination. You know, putting it off, saying I have time to do it, I am not ready yet to do it, procrastinating, and before you know it, time would have flown on by, and that ambition, that goal, that objective would not have been met. Get rid of that woodpecker of procrastination as you look into the final 10 and of course into 2023. Another woodpecker I think that impinges on our ambition is that of lack of self-will, lack of self-confidence that we are able to do it. That may be on account as well of a number of things. So there may be little bird, baby woodpeckers that may be contributing to that. Them being maybe expectations in family, maybe some labeling, maybe some self-fulfilling prophecy that would have been attributed to us, that may very well be digging and burrowing and pecking, putting that beak and that barbed tongue all the way down into that sideboard of our ambition, causing us not to go where we need to go. That woodpecker as it relates to our financial security, breakthrough, or accountability. I don't want to say it, but I have to. That could be family and relatives. And by that I mean family who may be irresponsible of what they ought to be doing. Family who may be sapping and draining us. Family who are just takers and not givers. And family who are frivolous in how they go about their own lives. And because we have to input into them, that may be a damaging woodpecker, a very harsh one, into the sideboard of our financial security, of our financial accountability, and our financial breakthrough. I want to also suggest that another woodpecker that may very well be digging into our financial breakthrough may be that of spending habits, or even budgeting or lack thereof. So if we are frivolous, we are spendthrifts, and we aren't able to deal well with money management, that is a damaging woodpecker that is compromising the integrity of our financial breakthrough, our financial security, and our financial accountability. Look out for that woodpecker and do something about it as it digs into that sideboard. Then, of course, we are looking at that sideboard of family interaction. And I want to suggest here that a woodpecker that is doing harm to that may very well be years and years of hiding of family secrets that are rooted in guilt and shame, that are toxic, that are tearing us apart, digging into the positivity of our interactions, so that that sideboard is so compromised, is so damaged, that we probably need to rip it out and replace it with some more wholesomeness. Check on that woodpecker. Check on that woodpecker of hurt and unforgiveness. That's another woodpecker that is damaging the integrity of our family interactions. Irresponsible behavior, not holding one's own, not doing what one ought to be doing as far as helping out and aiding. That's another woodpecker that is damaging the integrity of our family interaction. And then of course we have that sideboard of our relationship with God and our spiritual life. And I want to suggest that a woodpecker that could do damage is that of lack of prayer life, or a minimum prayer life, our straying away, our taking on of extra cares of the world that is not allowing us to be what we ought to be, even not walking as the prince and princesses that we are of our kingly father, walking as royalty. That too may be a damaging woodpecker that has impinged on the sideboard of our spiritual lives or relationship with God. I want to encourage all of us this afternoon, midweek Wednesday, the shortest day of the year, 10 days away from the end of 2022, all of us, that those woodpeckers must be destroyed. The woodpeckers like to nest. So when all of those woodpeckers that I would have mentioned earlier stay and nest within all of the sideboards, what do you think the outcome is going to be? It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be retardation of progress. There's going to be a lagging behind. Ultimately, we would not see our way as we progress, and as years come upon us, as we get older, as chronologically we grow older, we may be very well be stuck in other areas because of all of those woodpeckers. And those woodpeckers too sometimes like to show off, looking for attention, as those male woodpeckers do, looking for attention from the females and even intimidating the males. Those woodpeckers that I mentioned, if we allow them to stay there in those sideboards, they can do severe damage to our progress. 2023 is only 10 days away, and we need to look after our structure, ourselves. What are we doing spiritually? What are we doing as it relates to family interaction? What are we doing as it relates to our financial independence, breakthrough, security, accountability, however you want to term it? And what are we doing as it relates to our ambition? Get rid of those woodpeckers. Burying the holes is useless. Woodpeckers are persistent. They will stay there and take us down. Our structure will pull down. Have a beautiful midweek Wednesday. And while you're at it, I'm encouraging you to remember that we're still in the stock taking season. We're still looking at reviewing, reevaluating, revamping, and reorientation and re-energizing. Those points are important as we look at those woodpeckers, to take them down, to kill them, to destroy them, so that our structure may be of better substance as 2022 comes to a close and 2023 opens to us with all its possibilities. Stay in the garden. Come next year, we are getting into our 3rd year anniversary. It has been a pleasure having you in the garden with us, and we look forward to your continued support as you sip on your drink, relax in your chair, invite a friend over, and come into the garden for sound advice, encouragement, motivation, because ultimately our emotional well-being, our mental health and peace of mind are what we mostly need to have. Have a lovely day.